All right, we're here today looking at some SEO strategies and skills. This is chapter 11 on link building. Now, up to this point, most of the textbook has been a very broad overview of on-page and technical SEO. And in the last chapter, which is chapter 10, we began to talk a little bit more about off-page SEO, off-site SEO, as I like to call it, and really what it means, what do links mean in the grand scheme of things when it comes to the SEO. But chapter 11 goes into much greater detail into how to build these links, because we've learned previously, if you're watching this after looking at chapter 10, that links to your site, these inbound links, are really critical to building a good domain profile and to making sure that Google can see your site as legitimate. Now, there's a lot of different ways to go about and collect links from other websites, but really, it does take a strategy. It does take a little bit of work to get links. There are some sites that have become great without a strong link building strategy. A lot of times you see blogs. They rank well because, well, that's what they do. They just write really strong content. They're in a niche area of the web. They get a lot of good links back because, social media posts and other blogs will link over to them. But in the business world, which is really the audience that I operate with here, it can be a little bit more challenging. Companies aren't chomping at the bit to give link over to other websites, and SEO has become mature enough in this day and age that most people that work in search engine optimization understand that links are currency. Links are worth something, especially if your site has a strong domain authority. And I realize that's a fake number. We'll get to that in a little bit. But really, what is it that makes a site rank well for search? Now, to start with, let's set the stage. Two-thirds of all web pages have zero backlinks. That means no sites, no web pages over to them for various reasons. And the question that the authors posit here is: can a great new company build enough site authority naturally to rank? There's some controversy. There's a lot of discussion in the SEO world about that question, and really, Google built out this metric. They use links as a great measure of a domain strength because originally it was expected, hey, it's going to be a natural process. And so many people in SEO now work to make it unnatural. I don't know about you, but I get probably 10 emails a day from people that are offering to be a link builder for me, or from people that are offering guest posts, like things related to link building. And on one hand, I see the that side of it, that there does need to be a gaming of the system. There does need to be an intentional process because everybody's doing it now. But on the other side, if your content is that great and it is a great new company, shouldn't you be in a position? Shouldn't you allow the process to occur naturally? Well, yeah, I can see both sides, and honestly, most of my career, I've kind of leaned towards just letting it happen. I haven't done a ton of link outreach. I've done some, and I know enough to talk about it, but I've just found that the time commitment and the effort and the work that goes into it does not always justify the end result. So there's a lot of principles here. There's 2 slides of these. I'm not going to go through each one. I'm going to talk about 2 of them, and 2 themes. One is don't pay for links and don't get links. Don't take shortcuts. That is really, that's really only 3 and 4. There's another page of them here in a second. But the negative link building techniques, those can only harm your website. You may see short-term results, and I've done this once. I went and bought some links. Sure, it's just like it was like what downloading music was in the early 2000s. Everybody did it. It's just about whether or not you get caught. And I probably bought like 15 links, and I looked at the websites. They were decent. Like, I thought they looked okay. They had pretty high domain authority. And my site's domain authority skyrocketed. It went from like 25 to 50. And when your domain authority doubles, you figure, and we'll talk about it again, domain authority comes later, but I guess we need to define it now to understand really what we're talking about. Domain authority on SEMrush at least is 0 out of 100. 100 is for Google, Facebook, Amazon, the cream of the crop. 0 and 1, and that's for the site that you just built and doesn't have anything on it. Most sites, I would say, I don't know the exact percentage, but I mean, it tails off quickly. Like, there's not a lot of sites with domain authorities in the 80s and the 70s. Most websites are somewhere between 10 and 20, 10 and 30. My domain authority shot up to like 50. And I was holy crap, I'm going to crush it now. I'm going to get all sorts of traffic now. I'm going to, do really well here. And for about a month, I did see an increase in search traffic. I did see improving keyword performance. And then suddenly it stopped. And it turned out that Google saw what happened. Google saw what I did. And my domain authority went down even lower than it was before. I got down to about 11. The organic traffic stopped. The Google My Business account was still good. I'm still getting traffic through there. And there were some, branded keywords weren't really affected, but all of my non-branded keyword traffic went in the tank. And that was disheartening, but it was also a good learning experience. I wasn't depending on it to build my business. It was more of an experiment than anything else. And so here I am, 30 days after spending a couple $100 on links, and I'm in a worse position than I was before. So I went back to the drawing board and I started doing these positive steps. I looked for relevant websites that were in my niche. And really, that's the thing. I wanted to look natural. I wanted this to be realistic. I developed it. I was already in a LinkedIn community type of thing. So talked to and worked with a lot of colleagues that had similar websites and built up a link portfolio from there. And I got back up into the 20s or 30s. I think I'm in the 30s today. And it took a lot of work. And honestly, the change in organic traffic did not change that much. And I will say, just up front, link building is hard. And it takes some time, it takes some creativity, but the biggest issue of all is it's hard to see the payoff. It's very hard to see the payoff. Now, the second theme I wanted to talk about with link building principles that kind of relates to that is making sure that you stay in your lane. Not necessarily stay in your lane, but you want to build links with related websites in your industry. You don't just want to go get news links. Those are cool, they're good. You don't want to just get directory links. You don't want to just get like links from general sites. You want links from sites that are similar to yours because you want the users that they get. I have a digital marketing website. I have a blog about digital marketing. I am not going to get much out of having a link from a news website. I might get a little bit, but I'm going to get value if I get somebody coming over from another digital marketing blog. I don't have any links from Neil Patel, but if the best digital marketing blog linked to my site and, it was like a really strong link and it was almost like a testimonial for my stuff, that's going to do a lot more good for me than any news link is, both in terms of the people and in terms of what Google values it. Because Google understands these cohorts that exist. Google knows, hey, Neil Patel's blog is about digital marketing. Nick Matar's blog is about digital marketing. Okay. A lot of users going back and forth, a lot of the same keywords, a lot of similar ideas. It's not that human of an element like a computer can figure that out. However, that being said, it's important that you need to ensure that a lot of your links are coming from related websites. Then the third theme I want to talk about is this last point, number 7. You want to be your links need to be a result of legitimate value driving content, and we're going to talk about those as we go. So, links that are built to one page help the others, and by that I mean, if I were to just focus, if I wrote one epic blog post and I'm thinking I want to go all in on this, that to me is a little bit easier because it's a blog post that's really value driving. I can tell a story. I can get a lot of people to link to it, and it's relative to everybody else. You can't really say the same about a homepage. And a lot of people, that's the first mistake they make, is that, we need everything to link to our homepage, but you don't. The homepage in a homepage to a website does not provide the intrinsic value that something like a blog post does, because the homepage is talking about it's talking about a company, it's talking about a website, it's a business. It doesn't have the immediate staying power. If I used to do an annual report on digital marketing jobs, entry-level digital marketing jobs, and like, what were the skills required? What were the job functions? What was the salary? And those would get links because it was original content. It was original data and research that people could link to show what was going on in the industry. That wasn't going to be the case with my homepage. And if they link to my homepage, that's great, but why would they do that? Why would they do that when they can link to an article that has the original research and data that they're citing in their own? It isn't always easy to build links to the pages that we really want to rank well. Like if you think about e-commerce, category pages, product pages. But if we can build links to some of the other more linkable pages, like those blog posts, the entire domain is going to improve. The whole website is going to improve. And that's kind of how I look at SEO. Is I don't want paid links to all my pages. I'm going to focus on those that are going to provide the most value. And for me, it's generally the timely and relevant content that is applicable and of value to people in my industry. Now, they like to talk about in this text is 3 different types of link building. There's add, ask, and attract. The adding part, I just add them myself. This is where a directory comes in. You can submit your company. There's a ton of those. Add a business listing, like a Chamber of Commerce, for example. They're pretty low grade. You got to find the good ones. And the chamber that I worked at was a very good one. A lot of companies knew how to take advantage of it and get a lot of traffic out of it. The second one is ask. This is the time-consuming one. This is manual link building, going to a website and saying, hey, I got a link that's of value to whatever you find the page. This page, and this is why. Time-consuming. It can work. It has worked. I've been on both sides of that before. But it takes a lot of time. You need to first find the page that you want a link from. And that comes after you find the domain that you want to link from. You need to make sure that the audience is the same. And you need to make sure that your content is going to be value creating, value driving to the person on the other end when you email them. And you got to find the email for the person who runs the website, which can be a task in itself. Then the third one is attract. Honestly, this is the one that you want to do the most, but is admittedly the hardest. And this is where you depend on that valuable content to do the linking for you, where you have something so strong and so great on your website that other people, first off, Google indexes it and it shows up well. Maybe you promote it a couple ways, but then people start linking to it on their own, and it starts improving your website's domain authority, and all their articles and all your other content starts attracting these links naturally. It's unpredictable. It's hard to do. It's hard to just sit back and watch, but it will provide the best results, by far the most effective results. So this is directory-based link building. You just go to a business website, add it in there. Again, chambers of commerce, local business maps, all sorts of stuff. A common one that the authors talk about here are just search like your city, like Detroit's business directory, Moorhead business directory, Minnesota business directory, Michigan, things like that. Those are usually pretty good bets to start. And they're easy. They're not that great. They're not going to be really good links, but you know what? They're links. And they're legit links. Like that's a legit website that you're seeing on there. The author of this textbook is from Kalamazoo. He's familiar with kind of how those work. Then there's content-based link building. You want something that other websites want to link to. That's where the original data is a really good example. But then the other thing you want to think about that's related to is like company news is a good example. This is if your company has like legit news and stuff where people are clamoring over, not applicable to many small businesses, but right. If you think about any large company that has an announcement they want to make, they're going to get a link from it. They're going to get a link from an article. Job postings are a good one. If you have a company that is opening a new location, right? You got a restaurant and you're opening a new location, you put a press release out there, you put a web page out, that's going to get so many links up front. That's the kind of stuff. It's out there. It's in the community. People can see it. It's relevant. On the other hand, you have, if you look at like the opposite end, like, oh, an iPhone announcement, of course, they're going to get a bazillion links, right? Look at all these things. They got 152,000 backlinks from a product announcement page. Most of us don't operate in this space. We're not going to be this lucky. So let's just look here, right? Here's a promotion. You get something like if you have a sale or a promotion or any sort of like incentive based thing, there's a good chance that something you could get mentioned and included in something like an email and or a company or a blog that does like roundups, which is what this is. And really, when you think about link building, a lot of it is the crux of content marketing. Anybody that is familiar with my content here, it's all content marketing, not all content marketing based, mostly based on content marketing. That is my specialty. And just to kind of rehash the idea of the definition of content marketing here, it's that, hey, we're not going to sell something to you. We're not using that push marketing where we push something in front of you. We use pull marketing. We're going to put valuable content out there in front of you that you engage with, that you like, that will naturally draw you in or pull you in, and then come through and say, hey, I saw that you liked this content on the planets. We happen to sell a telescope. Something like that, where it's really valuable material and it's something that a target audience legitimately wants and desires, but it's not the same. It's not selling it. It's not trying to put it too far in their face. Another example is, and I see this a lot, is articles, how-to articles. Home Depot is the example here. And I use one in my textbook about repair clinic. And the idea here is that it's valuable because if you're somebody like me who has a house, I have kids, I have a dryer, and I've had this issue before. I'll learn something from this and I'll try to go do it. But what happens if I need one of these materials? Where am I going to go? Home Depot. There's a Lowe's closer to my house than there is Home Depot. But I'm going to go to Home Depot because I see this here. I know what I'm looking for. And that brand is more front and center right now than Home Depot or than Lowe's is. That's just kind of how it goes. That's the idea. Now, the challenge behind this is you can't really measure this, like how successful it is. But I mean, if you just look at the webpage itself, like if I search how to clean a dryer vent, which is probably searched thousands of times a month, and this comes up first, look at all these domains that link to this article. 727 times. If you solve a problem for your niche, for your target audience, you are going to get much better returns. I've created videos on a couple of the Stukent simulations, and I'm not even saying how to. Maybe I do on a couple of them. I get hundreds of views on these videos, and they're not even. I mean, they're good, but they're not that good. I'm just doing what I'm doing here. I'm reading and looking at lecture slides. This is the other I would say the most common example, common type of a backlink type of link. Recipes. People search for recipes hundreds of thousands of times. You look at Christmas time, or maybe, I don't know, October, November, December, the recipe search market explodes for everything. Not just holiday cookies or desserts or turkey for Thanksgiving. It's everything. Appetizers, drinks, sides, everything, you name it. And again, this does so well because, one, people are looking for it, but two, it's valuable. If I wanted to make sourdough crackers, I'm going to go look for a recipe. I can't figure that out on myself. None of us anymore are any good at cooking. This is not the 50s. We don't learn how to cook and just, go off of our own intuition. That's not the world we live in now because we have Google. So every recipe that King Arthur here does is going to be a valuable backlink. It's going to lead to backlinks because say you work for King Arthur, you're the content person, you're putting all these recipes up here, right? All sorts of websites are going to link to this. There are so many recipe roundup websites where they just link to other recipes. And there's so many blogs and social media, all sorts of things will link to this. 145 domains, 556 unique backlinks. Incredible for a page that, and I can tell you right now, the ingredients here, there's like 3 other things because it's sourdough starter, it's whole wheat flour, and a couple in like seasonings. I don't want to go too much further here. I don't want to go too much longer, I should say, because I'm not even halfway through the slides. But a couple other examples. I look at creating valuable content in one of 3 ways. It's either educational, which is what the Home Depot was here. And the recipes are probably educational as well, because you didn't know this before. But then there's more. This is partially educational, but also partially entertaining, as is this next one, Meow Mix. Yeah, like they do provide education, but they also provide entertainment value. That to me is really good. Things like this, where it's like, oh, a did you know thing, those get a ton of backlinks. And back in the day, there was a program that a lot of people used, millions of people used it, called Stumble Upon, kind of like what Pinterest has become, where you just discover new content scrolling through. And all you do is click a button that said stumble, and you go find a new website. Just take you to a random website. Well, towards the end of the Stumble Upon reign, its reign of time as one of the most used websites in the world, I realized as a young adult that you Stumble Upon doesn't really stumble. You have to submit content. You had to submit a website to be stumbled. And they'd review it, make sure it was legit, and then you'd be put into the queue. I did that for a couple of articles for the first company I worked for. And lo and behold, and the audience is broad. The target audience doesn't really match what we were talking about earlier. But I'm 23 years old. I don't really know what I'm doing. I submit it, and about a month, I kind of forgot about it, to be perfectly honest. About a month later, one of the pages caught on, and I got like 10,000 visitors, 10,000 unique visitors, with an average time on a page of like 4 minutes. I didn't get a ton of backlinks from it because, again, this was kind of random, but it was interesting information in the same vein as this Shutterstock piece. It was I guess you could say it was in a directory, user submitted, and people really found it Interesting. I don't even remember what the page was about, but I know it was in the same vein. I think that's something to do with former old Bush, H.W. Bush, and like something that he did. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head, but it was shocking to me at how easy it was to get that kind of traffic. Now, again, didn't get much in the way of backlinks because I did eventually check the backlink option, and I did run into some issues. But hey, to me, it was a great learning experience, and I was really in a great spot there. So let's just jump ahead here a couple of slides. Content marketing research. This goes back to my work with LinkedIn and job postings. The idea here is you want to take a look at the links that you get and what's already working. The only reason that I did my job, my entry level marketing jobs, is because I did it once just to see what it did and if it got any attention. I did a little bit of link building, and then a year later I went back and looked, and I got some legitimate links from it. I didn't really know about it at the time. I wasn't spending a lot of time and effort. It wasn't like it was kind of half-assing it, to be perfectly honest, in terms of link building. But what I did is I went in and looked at, okay, what is it that's getting links? That was the only article I had that got more than like one link. What kind of stuff was earning links from my competitors? The same type of stuff. One of two things was happening. Competitors were getting links from original data, or they were getting links from anything about jobs, job postings, job overviews, like they had videos about people and like what they did in their jobs. Okay, let's combine them all together and do this report. And then what's the most related content on the web, like that's most popular? And it is interesting that a lot of the most popular stuff that I've seen is I don't know if it is anymore. It's been a couple of years since I did the link analysis, but the most popular content was anything that was related to careers. And what I kind of posit, my thesis was, people that are online looking at content like mine, right? Digital marketing, educational material. They're there because they are looking to level up their prospects, either as someone working in digital or trying to get into digital marketing. And in my corner of the world, that's what, I mean, there's a lot of questions out there. Is a job in social media worth it? How intense is working in email marketing? What does a user experience designer do? How much do you make doing content marketing? Can you be a content creator, an influencer? Oh, the influencer stuff is out of this world. And so once I realized what it is that people were looking for, I decided I'm going to do this report again and again and again. And it died down after a few years. I think I did it for 4 years and I stopped. But it was really important for me to be able to see all that. BuzzSumo is a good example of the type of tool that can measure this. I'm gonna jump ahead here because I do want to get to a couple of the types of link building here, right? This is just a placeholder slide, I think, with a couple of questions. So now there's the skyscraper content strategy. For years, I didn't really realize what this meant, but the idea is you want to make a better version of something that's already there. And the example here are wine glasses for 2023. Look at those examples, and then you have here. The idea here is that the skyscraper, you're continuing to build a tall building of content that already exists. But then what you need to think about is, who's going to share this? Who's going to link it? Why is mine better? And that's really where you need to think about what the plan is to promote it. And that's where this comes in. This is a pillar of content marketing that is just kind of coming through here in this slide. And that is the idea that there's all these different ways to get your content out there. The content marketing in itself, like the creation of content, lives in this one on the left, the owned media. You control what that is. Paid media, that's the advertising side. That's when it's no longer really content marketing, it's advertising, but it can help kickstart content. And earned media is the stuff, that's the good stuff. That's what you want. When people find it and they're like, hey, I want this, I want that, I want to do a thought leadership piece on this. Earned media is really the bread and butter of really good content marketing. And those are the best content creators too, the influencers. Then there's manual link building. That is the old-fashioned way. Send an email and try to get it included. You can include one of these principles of influence and see if that helps, but whatever. It's a kind of a broad thing. But then there's reciprocity based. So there's link exchanging, which too much of that you'll get stopped. Guest writing and blogging, which is great. I'm a big fan of that. There's sponsoring stuff. You can pay for something, or you can endorse, like testimonials, those types of things. Now, I'm gonna skip over these because these are interesting. But I will really quickly talk about this. The idea of link building here is there needs to be not only value in the content you create, but also why should the other website link? And this is an interesting one because a lot of times if there's an article that might be gone or like a broken link in an article and you find that for a competitor, you can jump over there and offer to help them replace it by filling in one of your own. I get emails every now and then. I have a couple articles that I haven't looked at in years, like 8 years. And there's some broken links there. If I don't do the proper hygiene on my articles, I'm going to get emails from people that did it for me. They're going to offer to replace it with links. And usually I'll take the bait. I'll go for it. And that's, where that's because like the liking based link building strategy. The key thing here though, as you may recall earlier in this textbook, there's the different types of links. There's follow links and no follow links. Well, no follow links and regular ones. Really, the key is getting those follow links. No follow links have a time and a place, right? I mean, anything linked from Wikipedia is a no follow link. They don't do follows. They only do no follows. That's not to say you shouldn't have anything. Wikipedia is the number one source of referral traffic to my website because I have 3 or 4 articles linked in there. I get nothing in terms of like the link juice, like the power of the link itself. It doesn't help my domain authority, but I get traffic from it. So there's got to be some value there. But really it comes down to, what's the realistic link building opportunities? Honestly, there are SEO penalties for what I would consider to be realistic when people will email you and look for, I'll provide you all these links. But there are harmful links out there, and it's going to be important for you to stop that. And that's where any link that you give over to a website that you find is bad, dangerous, you can block it. You can put a no follow yourself, or on links that come over to your site, you can disavow links, and you can submit this to Google and Bing. I mean, they don't have to do this. There's some simpler ways to do this. But this is the easy way to do it. Let's bring it together. The comprehensive link building strategies, find the right directories. Those are the easy wins. You can do that quickly. Next, high potential link requests. Honestly, I think a lot of those are going to be the broken links that you find that I just mentioned offhand here in the moment. And then the quality content marketing. That's the content creation, buddy. That is the research that I talked about. It's coming up with stuff that's really valuable. And that's about it. I heard this video is about twice as long as I intended it to be, but really, you can create a good link building strategy without spending too much time on it. The key is making sure that it's going to be worth your while and that the outcome is what you hope it always would be.